apologies for the consistent or constantly going on and offline. I think I finally solved the riddle of my streaming dropping frames. At least I hope I did. I had to do many tests. And I think I settled on a frame rate and everything else that seems to be okay right now. I haven't dropped as many frames as I normally do. Am I getting picked up? Let me... I don't know what I sound like, so let's see what I sound like. Okay, testing. Hopefully I'm getting picked up loud and clear. Let's turn that up a bit. Yeah, I think that's better. Okay. Oh, good. My frame drops is down to 0.3%. Oh, that's a beautiful number. I mean, I was up in like the 60-75% for the past several weeks. I could not figure out what in the hell was going on. Okay. Whoa. Now, what I'm thinking about is I'm looking at synonyms for tribe because I don't know if I want to use the word tribe. I'm thinking about maybe using, I was thinking of using house, but I realized that I am using house for, for the names of the literal houses for my, basically school of teaching magic, my magic school, where the school is divided up into 5 different houses, which each house is a like a speciality. And so I don't, so I technically can't use that. Let me actually open my series Bible so that way I can make sure that I don't step on my own toes in terms of the other stories that I have in mind. Oh, zoom this out. This is too close. Fit page. There we go. Also, why is the font not black? Dust my eyes to see me. There we go. Okay, so looking at the Woodvale Academy, which is the name of the school I was talking about. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yep, there are 5 houses. That's what I thought. And then there's a fifth. There's actually a 6th house, but it's the smallest house. It's kind of like a rogue house, which is a terrible word to use because one of the houses is called the House of Rogue, the House of Omnicron, the House of Minite, the House of Simiota, the House of Turin, and then there's the 6th house, which is the House of Rainu, and there's a reason why that one is kind of like an outlier, but I won't go into that because that's not the series I'm writing. I only mention it because I don't really want to change how that is structured. I like that they're each called that way, the House of. Let's look at another synonym for tribe. Also, hold on one second because I want to see if my wife went downstairs. I heard her, but I thought she went to the bathroom, so let's hold on one second. I have returned. Okay. Let's do my webcam back on. There we go. I really need to do a deep clean on my glasses. Oh, let's see how my frames are doing. Ooh, slight increase there. Hopefully that won't be too bad. I did, as a last resort, download the original OBS. So I think I will, just as a test tomorrow, use the original OBS and not Streamlabs OBS and see what difference, if any, that will make. Probably won't make any difference, but I'm going to test that out tomorrow. In the meantime, I'm going to just keep a watchful eye on the dropped frames. And hope that things will work out. So what I'm looking for is two things. One is the tribe name, or the name for the enemy tribe, because and I put it in quotes, because are they the enemy? From the point of view of the Mytog tribe, they are, but that doesn't necessarily mean that they are, right? Because it's all in the perception of the viewer. So in this story, basically there is gone on since literally, and so the way the story goes in my universe is that there was a god that is okay, and so this female dragon who is a god and created several different species of dragons on a planet, you could say planet Earth, and you could say planet Earth, on Earth, lowercase e, and so these different shipped her, adored her, all to show that she appreciated their loyalty to her, praising her, gave them a gift. And the gift was meant to be the slaves of the dragons. And so for a very long time, procreated, reproduced, and were slaves and were traded, all of these things. And what happened was the ones who had the most slaves were the most adored by their god, and they paid more attention to material things, in this case the humans, man, than they did to make her angry. That they cared more about than how much they. And so she decided to, and the way she chose or went about to do that is that one dragon was going to give birth to her most beloved child. That and if this can sound very familiar, right? But herein lies the trick. Has this egg, is in possession of this egg, will be the species of dragon that will destruction, okay? Because she's going to destroy, except for the one that has this one dragon. But what they don't realize is that this dragon that she sent down is the vessel with which the dragon. I won't go too much into detail on that, because that's actually getting its own trilogy called The Last Dragon, and the largest 3 books that I will probably ever write in the history of my life, because it's going to go in deep into the history of dragons, where literally like the first book and then half of the second book will not even have humans in it. It will just be dragons, because it's going to tell all of that stuff. Dragons right up until when the dragons as their slaves, till when the dragons receive humans as their slaves, and then when the dragons are wiped out and humans are left. So it's going to be a massive, like, words per book trilogy. So I won't go too much into detail. However, what I will go into is spawned from the ending of the Dragon Age, is to say. So DA is the Dragon Age, right? So there were years that happened during the Age of Dragons, and then there's SA, which is what we're living in right now, fighting in currently, which is the Age of Sapiens, the Sapien Age. One into the other, there was a specific that was trusted by Ace. Was unheard of, strange, odd, because dragons were the masters and humans were the slaves. There was no commonality there, right? But something happened again. I won't go into it. A person, this human, basically friends with this particular dragon, became revered. Went on to to bring people together, and they mountains where sleep and roam and like climb and just perch within mountains. These mountains are like ridiculous. You could try to climb them or get into them. If you don't know, you'd never make it. You'd never survive. Particular tribe did. There at some point again a separation between this main tribe, where there was an argument about what their purpose was, right? In one instance, the tribe believed that their purpose until Zoldyr came back. In another instance, there was believed to be a treasure, okay? And this treasure is believed to be buried within the mountains, and the tribe believes that it is their God-given reason for existence to protect that treasure. When and if their god decides to come back and resurrect dragons, okay? So you have the Maitog tribe. Know where the treasure is. They're protecting the tribe. The other tribe that's separated hundreds of years ago from this tribe, to basically say is not meant to just be sitting there dragons are resurrected by their god. They do believe in Zoldyr. They believe that Zoldyr is coming back, but they believe that the purpose of conquest, so that when they will not have to fight humans to get back what is rightfully theirs. That their mission is to use that money for weapons, for whatever the case may be, to start conquering these, kingdoms and nations that rose up after the end of Dragon Age, so that when the dragons come back, which both tribes believe will happen, it will be less of a struggle and a battle for them to get back on top. So like I said, there were these two tribes. They both believe similar things, but have very different this vast amount of treasure. And so they're fighting, and they've been fighting for a long time. And so the story that I'm telling is from the point of view of the Son of River. And so the reason why it's called Son of River is because when you are born, you are not given a name. Your name is son of who your father is. And if you're a girl, you're the daughter of whoever your mother is. So you are named or your father or your mother. You then get to decide what you want your name to be. So for like the first, I think I have it until you turn 14 or 15, then you get to pick your name. But for the first, chunk of your life, you are known, son of Mary, or son of or daughter of Mary, or whatever the case may be. And then we should have the who decides what your name is, that you've lived with yourself now, you know who you are, you get to pick your name. Am I dropping frames again as of 2 minutes ago? I am. Why? Why do you hate me so? I mean, I am fully optimized and I don't know why I am steadily here. My thing is excellent, but I am definitely dropping frames. Oh, okay. So that's kind of like a brief history of the world and then of the story that I am currently telling. And like I said, I'm telling it from the point of view of Son of River. Okay, and River, the man, is pretty revered in the tribe insofar as he can be, because in the Maitag tribe, women are the warriors and hunters. They are also the elders, and their leader, which is the chief, is always a woman as well. The men are only gatherers and laborers. That's it. They carry stuff. They help transport stuff. When the women go out and hunt and kill animals, the men carry the animals back to, to their tribe. So the women are the top dog, and the men basically do what they're told. And but within the gatherers, laborers, and even in a way the warriors and hunters, they do look up to River. He is very good. He and his wife, very well respected within the tribe. And what ends up happening is both the father and the mother, I can't remember what name I gave for the mother, because the series is Son of River, so it's taking place from the boy's point of view. They have 2 children. They have a boy and a girl. The parents end up getting killed in 2 very tragic ways, and we later discover, and this isn't really a spoiler, but we discover that it was intended that way by the why is because in this tribe, every so often, like I think it's every 7 years, the chief has to participate, and in order to retain her title, and she has to compete in these trials against other of age. Okay, so because that's how they pass the torch, so that if you reach a certain age, that means you're too old to do certain things that you're expecting. Acumen, physical, all of these types of things. So the shaman, which is the religious leader and is a goblin in this instance, it's always been a goblin who oversees the trials and then will announce a winner at the end of the trials. And the trials usually take a couple of weeks. That the women are all taken to a remote location, and then at the end of it, someone comes out victorious. Now, this particular chief is previous chiefs, in that usually a chief knows when it's their time, when they've run their course, they've done their thing, and so they're usually going to participate in the trials. Whoever wins this one, I will gladly hand over the reins. This woman has not done that. She wants to continue to be chief. She's like, a little crazy. And within her inner circle, who she has spying on, who is going to be competing in the trials, and who, her instance, it happens to be whomever. So she has to figure out a way to get rid of her competition so that she can remain. What ends up happening is she assassinates this girl, and the Son of River, the boy, sees it. He's a witness, basically lets everyone know, like, I saw her kill my sister. But it's a boy, giving this the chief, and it's just crazy talk. So he's forced to leave. He's like excommunicated for daring to speak ill of his chief and leader. I'm thinking of like the Lion King and Simba, and where his uncle says, you know, so that's basically the moment. And so he does, he runs away, and when he runs away, he runs smack dab into the enemy tribe who kidnap him or who take him, and growing up and living with them for a very long, and he learns how to fight, he learns how to do things in that tribe if he had stayed in the tribe that he was born and raised in, because in the other tribe they're more equal in terms of what the men and women do, whereas in the Maitag tribe they are very traditional and the men are just not. So he's bulked up, he's ready to go, and now he's going to seek revenge for, and then when he discovers that his parents were actually not the victims of tragic accidents or the enemy killing them, it was intentional. And so the story of the 4 books. So the first one is he runs away. Then the second one is hold on, let me see. I have them all written down here because here we go. Where he learned from this tribe in the first book, and then in the second book he returns to the tribe that bore, prove his worth and prove to them that this woman is indeed, and she needs to be stopped. So that's River Wrath, and then there's River Kill. I won't go into what happens with that. River King, and you can guess what that means. But that's going to be the 4 books in the 4-book series that I intend to write here. And so I don't know if I like using the word tribe for the name of the group. I feel like I want to use something else. So I'm looking at synonyms for tribe, and we do have blood or clan, which I'm a little, yeah. Because it like the blood of Maitag, you know, you have the blood of Maitag, you have the blood of X coursing within you. It is so between it being windy and my fan blowing. Actually, I'm gonna turn my heater off for a bit. So that I'm going to use that I feel like it just then tribe. Anyone could use tribe. Now what I need is a name for the other tribe, and I need it to be, I'm not sure if I'm sold on Maitag because I keep making the mistake of saying Maitag, which is like the washer dryer company. Okay. What am I looking at? Oh. Why am I looking at... I'm looking at the wrong thing. Back. Oh, right, because my idea... Okay. So, instead of using, like, tribal names or tribe names, what I want to do is actually have it be that they're named after a specific list, which is why they're called Maitag, because that's actually the name of a dragon. Oh, that's why I was looking at dragon names before. Okay. I answered my own question. Ooh, Varus. I like that. It's very simple. Okay. Let's see if I find something a bit better than Maitag. I also want to put what it means. I kind of like How do you spell that? Tyko. Right? Protector of the sky. That kind of just fits. It kind of just... Let's leave it at that, because I can go down a rabbit hole here quite easily. Let's close some things here that I don't need open at this present time to try and alleviate the fact that my computer is flipping out. Yeah, I'm still optimized pretty good. And yet, I'm dropping frames like a bad habit here. Oh. Out of control. So, something else I kind of want to have in place before I begin even outlining, because I do have, if you look here, I have my simple outline and I do have a detailed outline. However, I am probably going to keep daughter of Serene here. That's the mother's name, because I see it right there. And of the chief, I originally, in my original outline, I had Empress, that they were going to be an Empress, but I don't like that. That sounds a bit too royalty. Chief, because in tribes you would have a chief, so but I really want to start from scratch, so that's what I'm going to do. Let's come back here to the social structure. I kind of put a folder, and then do that, and then actually, let's just make this a sheet of facts, and then we'll do we'll give each one their own things. Which is the main one is going to have now, I'm not going to name every single like member and so on and so forth, but I do want to put some of the main people here. There are a couple of other people, but I will add them. I think there's Leaf. I think that's, how am I spelling? I think Leaf is girl. Wanderer, let's call her a runaway. She's not a member of either tribe, but she bumps into Son of River. And it's because of him and his clumsy ways that they both end up getting captured by Varys, by the Varys tribe, if you will, which makes her pretty pissed. But she's not human, so that's gonna be. I'm pretty excited to introduce what kind of non-human she is, and we meet her like halfway, like in the midpoint of book one, because there's a lot that happens in the setup and in Act 1, so we meet her like that's almost like the climax of the end of Act 2, when he bumps into her and then they get captured. I keep looking back because I hear this fierce wind blowing. Oh shoot, I have to take my pills, so hold on, I'll be right back. Just realized what time it is. Okay, I really need to get more on time with that. Oh, don't retweet that. I didn't ask you to do that. Oh, excuse me. Alright, let's turn my camera back on here. let's continue. What is my iCloud drive doing? Uploading one item. Oh, okay. I don't know what it's uploading, but sure. Okay, so let's go back here where I'm going to give names to certain elders, a name for the shaman, some warriors are gonna be named, and like here for instance, Oak is, and he is, well, anyway, Oak, and then I know one of the elders' names, which I haven't yet decided if I am still gonna stick to this idea. Okay, so down here, let's switch it to the, do I want the detailed outline down here? I think I do. Some of the names I really like that I had in the original outline, so I'm just going to, yeah, Leaf. Okay, so I was right with Leaf. But where the heck is the name of my shaman here? He's sort of like a Rafiki type character. The goblin, if you will. No, I've gone too far, so let's back up. Let's back up here. Oh, I originally had them called Kinnaman. Huh. I do like the name of the Kinnaman split, so let's put that in here. got Kinnaman split, but there is still the matter of the names of the mountains on either side of the Kinnaman split. So the Kinnaman split is kind of like I guess you could say like a 50-foot gap that happened during the Great War, where the mountain was literally split and moved and parted, like almost like the parting of the Red Sea. So it was split and moved about 50 yards, which was considered to be a miracle, a marvel. It's like I said, it's hallowed ground for both sides. They wouldn't dare to cross it or do anything horrible on it. But if either side would cross it to get to their side, then they would deem that to be an act of war. But there are warriors who are stationed within the mountains where the split is on either side, basically staring back at each other, to see if any of them would dare to try to sneak and infiltrate into their encampment. And I want to do a illustration of what this is going to look like for me visually, because when you think about it, these mountains have to be big enough to for dragons to be living in them, outside, on them. There are, if I'm not mistaken, 3 different kinds of dragons. There are water, what are the 3 different kinds of dragons? Water, magic, and time. Those are the 3. All dragons can fly, so that's not a type of dragon, but each dragon species can do something special and unique that's different from the others. So you have water, meaning those dragons can swim underwater for long periods of time, and then you have magic, meaning those dragons can cast spells and things of that nature. And then you have time, meaning that they can manipulate time. They can stop it, they can speed it up, they can slow it down, they can back it up. And with magic and time specifically, the use of their ability has huge repercussions. So while you might think, one of the simplest solutions during the Great Dragon War is, stop time, and then that way, they could have possibly won the war, prevented what was going to happen, go back in time to fix it. But it caused, they're well aware of the repercussions that happens when you use the ability to manipulate time. And so not only do they have specific abilities, but their specific abilities give them other things, such as the time. The dragons who can manipulate time are very intelligent. They're almost, you could say, world scholars in the fact that they need to understand the ramifications of what happens. So because of that, over time, they have grown a bit of like a second brain, if you will, on when and how and why they should use their abilities. Magic, very cunning, almost Khan-like, but they're very skilled, feverish, charismatic, that sort of thing. And then water are risk takers. They are rebels. They, break things first, ask questions later. So they each have their own different type of personalities. And what I love about these 3 different types is magic is the one that's the most specific, because, and that's why there's Woodvale Academy, because what happens is, again, way back, one of the spells that dragon was able to accomplish, which no other dragon had been able to accomplish, and people still refute it within Stonehaven to this day, because they just can't believe it. Is one particular dragon, Solara, a woman, was able to turn herself into a human. So she was able to change her form from dragon to human, and you can imagine what happened. She fell in love with one of the male slaves and got pregnant and gave birth to a child, a human child, okay? And what she passed on to this human child was the ability to do magic. So what happens is, in this world, because then that gets passed on and passed on, so that there becomes this special ability that courses through Stonehaven, but to let it be known that you have special abilities means that you are from that lineage. And after the Great Dragon War, there's a higher percentage of people who hate, despise, and just really loathe dragons and the very idea of them because of what they did to their ancestors. And then there's the small select few, like the tribes, who revere them, right? So out in the real world of Stonehaven, if you have a magical ability, the last thing you want to do is let people know it. And so what happens is, there's this man by the name of Tobias who has special abilities because he comes from that lineage, who decides to create a school. And the purpose of the school is to bring in those who have special abilities and teach them how to use them, how to control them, and how to be acclimated within Stonehaven and not get caught having it. Because if you are, it's sort of like the Salem witch trials, where they will apprehend you, they will stone you, hang you, whatever the punishment happens to be in that particular area. And this school is a traveling one, because if they are found, then the town or the village will raise, torches and go and capture them all. So they're constantly on the move. They don't have a set area where this is where their school is and people come to them. No, they're like a traveling academy. And what happens, going off on a tangent again, Tobias becomes friends with this guy named Woodvale, and they are BFFs, right? Best friends. But there becomes a moment in their friendship where they just can't be friends anymore. And that moment is, Woodvale doesn't know. He's not born of magic the way Tobias is. But he can learn, right? So you don't, even if you're not a direct descendant of, you can learn how to do certain magics. You can cast some spells and do some things, and Tobias is more than willing to do it. And this friendship, I liken it to that of Steve Jobs and Steve Wozniak, in that Wozniak wanted to give it all up for free, and Steve Jobs wanted to market it, sell it, brand it, make millions of dollars. So in this dynamic, Tobias would be Steve Wozniak, and Woodvale would be Steve Jobs in this scenario here, right? So what happens is, Tobias is killed, and Woodvale takes up the reins of what Tobias had started there, which is this school. He changes the name, and it becomes Woodvale Academy. And he's teaching, and he's doing all these things. There's obviously a reason for why he's doing what he's doing, which gets delved into in greater detail in the Woodvale Academy series of books. And then there's also going to be a book that's just on Tobias and his legend, the legend of Tobias, and his lineage, tracing it all the way back to Solara, and how he is born of magic, what that entails, all of these things. And that story is actually introduced, or those people are steadily introduced in the Fifth Compass series that I started writing, because I do go into the Paragon who attended Woodvale Academy and who else was there when he was at the school. And so there's a lot of flashback scenes between the Paragon remembering his days at Woodvale Academy, remembering the time he spent with Woodvale himself. We meet Woodvale in a way at the end of book 2, because one of the main characters is put in a jail cell, like right across from his, and so we know that where Woodvale is at that, in that present time. So there's just a lot of backstory. One of the main characters from the Fifth Compass series, Nell, who's the witch, if you will, she is a student, not of Woodvale Academy actually, but of Tobias when he was the leader of the academy. And she is a part of a faction that is actively trying to stop Woodvale and what he is doing, because he's actually doing a bad thing, not a good thing. So there's a secret society of people who have come together with the goal in mind of putting a stop to him and what he's doing. And he's well aware that this group exists, and he's trying to find out who they are so that he can find them and stop them. Nell is one of them, and she's been tasked to bring in someone else into the fold because they are aware of a specific child who has abilities. So we discover, I think at the end of book 1, Daxton, that Adelaide, it's the 3 kids, right? So it's Daxton, Barton, and Adelaide. They're the 3 like main characters of the Fifth Compass series, and we discover at the end of book 1 that Adelaide has magic abilities that she was born with, and she's actually believed to be, well, I won't go into that, but it's pretty far out who they believe her to be and why she's so vital. It's so vital for either Woodvale to get to her, or the secret society to get to her first. And so they're both actively trying to get to her. Nell is currently like with her when you look at the Fifth Compass series, and how she's going to try and get her on their side. And Adelaide is actually going to get her own series, because she's going to be entrusted with these 3 dragon eggs, which are discovered in like book 4, I think, of the Fifth Compass. They find 3 unhatched dragon eggs that have been there for a very long time, and she wants to learn more about them and all of these things. So in like book 4 of the Fifth Compass series, she actually leaves them. They leave her behind with the eggs and they go off. So she's gonna get her own like trilogy, which I haven't got a name for right now. It's just called Adelaide and Sebastian, because that's who she's left behind with. And they are able to get the dragon eggs to hatch, and then all of the kingdoms and the rulers find out that there were these 3 dragons that were born, and so they all want to get them and have them, train them, use them to conquer more and everything else. So she has to learn her powers, harness them, and use them to protect these 3 dragons from being taken by any number of people now who really, really want these dragons, these dragon babies. But I kind of go like cray when I come up with these ideas, don't I? But they all interweave with each other, and they feed off of each other, and there are little nuggets here and little nuggets there that crop up and are seen elsewhere, and I put them in one book because I know that I'm going to mention it in another, such as, again, like that's why I started with the Fifth Compass, because there's so much that's discovered, that's picked up and left there, that is a continuation of so many other stories that are going to sprout forth from it. In the first book, again, for instance, my favorite scene ever is when Daxton and his friends go to a marketplace, and I forget why they go to the marketplace, but he stops at a specific booth, and he is, um, being a teenage boy, he finds himself infatuated by this girl sitting behind this booth selling arrows. I think she's selling just arrows, like not even bows and arrows, just arrows. And he's like stuttering Stanley. He's really nervous. He doesn't know why he's so nervous. Obviously, he has a crush on her. He doesn't realize it. She's a strong silent type, whatever. And then whoever they're running from catches up to them when they leave the market. The market's shut down. Everybody's closed up shop, and they're surrounded by this enemy. And then this girl who he, had seen earlier comes out of nowhere, and these bad guys, are like, who the hell does this chick think she is? That she's just gonna walk past us and, let's get her too. And she pulls a veil from her face and just drops it. And when it hits the ground, all of these arrows come out of everywhere, and they totally miss the good guys and hit the bad guys, who go off running and screaming with arrows sticking out of their limbs and arms and all these things. And we discover she is a part of a tribe. And the tribe that she's a part of is, in this instance, not because I changed the name, is going to be the Taikor tribe. And actually, I can make her be a part of either one of the tribes. That's fine. And what happens is, one of the men gives him a whistle and tells him, like, if he ever is in need of assistance, to use it, and they will come and help him. And so he's going to end up using it in the third book. Either the third book or the sixth book. I hadn't decided yet, but I did keep it as like a little sticky note to myself that he was given this thing, because the reader might forget that. But, I will bring it up pretty soon that he uses it. But yeah, so the introduction of this kind of tribe that hides, that is good at hiding, that's very good with bows and arrows. Who are they? Like, why were they at the marketplace? All of these questions, none of them get answered. But they will in the Son of River series, because we'll discover that the women are sent to town, to the nearest local village, to sell things and to barter and things like that. And that's how they get certain things that they need, that they can't necessarily make themselves living up in the mountains. You follow? So yeah, so there's a method to all the madness there, basically. So I need to come up with a name, basically, for these mountains, and based on what I just said, it does tell me where these mountains are specifically located. just realized I was talking to myself. I do want to list out all of the elders because there's only 5. So I do want to make sure that that I list all of them. Oh, did I make a mistake here? No, I have Wick there. Okay, never mind. So right here. Okay. So I think the only thing I didn't write down, which I'm shocked that I don't have that here, is the name of the Rafiki type character. I thought I would have had that name. Oh, I said it right here. I need a name for the old man who oversees the trial, so I did not give him a name. Okay. I need to give him a name. So, shall we do that thing? Let's see if there's a place here. You know what I hate most about fantasy names is that they are predominantly unpronounceable. Oh. Let's try this. right now. Alright, we've got talks. We also have 3 out of... This wind is like creeping me out. Alright. Let's see, we've got oak, we've got wick, stone, and shark, and lightning. I'm not sure if I'm going to keep all of these particular names. I might shift them around based on what I need. Like lightning, for instance, I feel like that should be a elder name rather than a name for one of the gatherer slash labor men, only because I think I want the elders to, the 5 names to always remain the same. So if, like, let's say Elder Cloud were to die, or this particular Elder Cloud, whoever is replaced, whoever is then brought in to be an elder, they would then be called Cloud. They would not retain whatever their name, their chosen name was at the time. They would inherit the elder name. So the elder names remain the same. What does change, however, is when you are a new elder, you do not get that title before the name. So in this instance, Sky is just Sky. She's not Elder Sky because she was just made an elder not too long ago, and so she has to basically, you could say, earn her stripes. So there's a certain order of things. So I think because it's Sky, Cloud, Moon, then I'm kind of sticking towards things that would be up in the heavens, in the sky, to be specific. And I think lightning would be considered one of those things. So we'll see, because I think I'm going to have cloud, moon, sun, and stars. Maybe that's what I'll do. Because I do, in my mind, I'm thinking that sky is a bit like Maria from The Sound of Music, in that I keep, whenever I think of Sky, especially in the scene that I happened to write many years ago, it came back to me instantly where I was hearing the song, How Do You Solve a Problem Like Maria? And she really is like a novice. She's still, bright eyed, and she sees the world so differently, but she has to learn how to be an elder. It's different. It's not like you could just go off exploring and doing, whatever you want and just live freely. You have to live by the code of the elders. Um, so there's this whole thing, and I think, and I'm probably going to stick with this, is that the shaman is the one who's responsible for teaching the new elder the code to, what to do, what the job entails, all of those things. And in that time that they spend together, a deeper friendship comes forth from that. But they can't be together. One, because he's a goblin and he's like almost 300 years old, and two, because her lot in life has been dictated in that she is going to be an elder, and elders, one, don't have children because their children is the tribe. So if they have a child, then it is believed that they will have a bias type of situation, right? So, and that's usually why when a new elder is put in place after one dies, they choose a very young person. So usually someone who has just come off of a trial. They may be a warrior by that point. They may be a hunter by that point. But if you have a child, if you end up getting betrothed, then you forfeit the right to be an elder, to be chosen as an elder. And that's why it's the shaman who picks this person, because the shaman is the one who performs the marriage ceremonies. The shaman is the one who's there during the trial, so he has copious notes on who's good at what and why, who's a good thinker, who's more of a warrior, and probably less inclined to have opinions and thoughts, and just wants to go out and beat people up and kill things, and it's etc., etc. So the shaman would be the one who would know if there's a vacancy in the elder department, who is a good choice to fit that. And he nominates Sky, whose name wasn't Sky before, and I think that's where I'm going to show in little ways their relationship being more and deeper than just friendship, and the fact that there are going to be moments where he's going to refer to her by her real name, by her chosen name, and not by her given name of Sky. And that will be kind of like a nod to the fact that he loves the woman she chose to be, and he's regretful of the of what he forced her to be. You know what I mean? Because if he hadn't have said Sky should be the next elder, she wouldn't be in this position. And not that they could have been together anyway, because they couldn't. But at least none of this of what happens to her would end up happening to her. And I won't go into her story, but her, of all the elders, Elder Cloud and then Sky are going to be the ones we hear from and see the most. We'll know who Elder Moon is, because that's the one who Cloud is always like, go do this, go get that, whatever. The other two elders will likely only see them or know that they're in the room if a decision has to be made, and I'll mention that all of the elders are present. That will basically be like all 5 of the elders are present. And I had toyed with the idea of giving, you know, Sky and the elders a trilogy of their own. Like that's exactly what it would be called, Sky and the Elders. I just don't know if the readers would be that interested. You know, I'm interested. I think it's fascinating. Um, but what would the story be? You know, I don't write romance. I don't really do that sort of thing. And while yes, there would be this deeper love between Sky and the shaman, I mean that doesn't really make for a story. I mean I could do one that's specific to the history and the tradition that comes with being an elder, but again, I feel like that's better suited for like the addendum of a set, like when I, because I'm gonna do, this is gonna be 4 books, right? So my thought is I'm gonna put them together into groups of 2. So when, you know, I do the first 2 books, I will then put those 2 books together and then add an addendum at the end, and then I'll put books 3 and 4 together and add an addendum at the end. So there'll be a volume 1 and a volume 2 that will make up the Son of River series. And I think in the addendum is where I'll put maybe letters that they wrote back and forth to each other, or things like that that would hearken to their relationship with each other without having to go into like an entire novel, because I don't think it would be very interesting to the reader to want to read that. But it is there, and I do want it to be known because I think it's important to understand the sacrifice that all of these people are making. You know, every last one of them, from Chief Mercy, who is, you know, in her own right pretty off her rocker, but she still is making sacrifices, to you know, all of the laborer gatherers like Son of Oak, who's, you know, making sacrifices to these girls who go into the trials in the hopes of being the next chief. The sacrifices they're making, all of them, they're all making sacrifices, and I want to make sure that all of those sacrifices are being put front and center so that the reader understands what's going on there. Let's see. I thought I had more warriors, hunters listed here. I mean, I will put I feel like I need to put Serene in here. Cracked my knuckles. Alright, let's put Serene there. Let's put River here. I'll put him right here. Whoa, it's too big. What is happening? Oh, maybe it's just that this isn't... Yep, there we go. mention that. Okay. Hello, Swiftness, and thanks for the host. Weeks. What am I spelling wrong here? okay. Oh Lord. There we go. How did your writing go? I've stopped by your stream and lurked a bit every now and then. I'm like freezing. Hold on. I had to turn my fan on again. My heater. Whew. I'm about to put on my Eskimo outfit if I don't warm up soon. Okay, so there's a couple things about that. Let's go into some info about warriors and hunters. No, I didn't even hear the notification because I don't have my headset on, so any sound that it may have made, I didn't hear it. But I did see it flash on my Streamlabs OBS, so I saw it out the corner of my eye, but like I said, if it made a sound, didn't even affect me. I only put my headset on if I'm gonna listen to like classical music or something on the radio, and otherwise I realize I don't actually need my headset on because my mic is separate from my headset. But it took me a while to get to that point because there was a time where my headset and my mic were one and the same, so I was always in the habit of wearing my headset. But now I'm like, wait, I actually don't need it. Yay. They are never in danger. They also keep a constant lookout. At the Kinnaman split. Invasion by the enemy. Hunters keep the tribe well fed. They are experts at tracking all sorts of prey, setting traps, and killing them for food. They are not warriors and usually are kept far away from enemy lines or not sent into battle. Okay. Anything else? Oh, I feel like I need to maybe I should put this in the facts page. And let me change the view to be no split. Yep, there we go. And then maybe in here What else should they use? I want them to use like things they can make. Like clubs and spears. They definitely don't use swords. Swords is more for like the military of certain kingdoms. So the tribes would not even. They've seen swords. They've battled certain kingdoms who've used swords against them, but they don't find swords to be as useful or as sturdy of a weapon as what they've been using practically all their lives. So they do not use swords. And they don't use shields, which they feel, or armor, which they feel will weigh you down. Again, a hindrance in battle instead of a helpful thing. So their clothing is actually very lightweight. The material is usually made of animal skin and, you know, things of that nature, so that it helps them to move faster, to have more of a stealthiness during battle, where, you know, they find that armor and things like that are very noisy, so they're, you know, it would be easier to detect if you wore that kind of stuff. And these people are like climbing trees and climbing mountains, and they're hiding in ways that you can't even imagine. So they are, you know, they're barefoot, they don't wear anything on their feet, so things like that, in order to be as undetectable as possible until the moment with which they're going to attack. And, you know, that'll be the end of you, basically. I'm actually excited to like delve into that, into how they handle battle differently from, you know, a kingdom would handle battle, where they want to be loud and noisy and bang and clang and let you know that they're coming. These tribes are complete and total opposite. They don't want you to know they're coming until after you're dead, and then by then it's too late. Let's do a little bit about clothing. Okay, let's see. So face paint is a huge, huge, huge tradition amongst all the many traditions of this particular tribe. And I'm going to really be leaning heavily on the face paint because the covers of each of the 4 books will tell you a lot, will give you a lot of um, not really foreshadowing, but you'll be able to tell what's going to happen in that book based on the cover, because the cover is going to be Son of River and his face changing over time. So in the first book, you're going to see his face as the 14-year-old boy who runs away, and it'll be his face. He'll have some hair, which will be back like in a ponytail, and he'll have white and yellow um, paint on his face, so you'll know that he's young, youth, right? And then in the next book, um, he's going to be wearing colors. Technically, he would not be allowed to wear if he was still a member of this tribe, but by the second book, he will be in the other tribe, so he will be wearing the color of that warriors wear. So he will be older. He'll be aged up by many years, and longer hair, which he'll have down and not in a ponytail, and he'll have again the face paint, and I think I might even have a headdress, like the headdress like the warriors would wear, that he's gonna have that. And then the third book, which is River Kill, again this time he's gonna have like a scar on his face, because there will have been a battle and he will have been scarred and scuffed, and he'll still have the warrior paint, but it's going to be like severely smudged and almost like it's disappearing, like it's fading away. And then in the last one, River King, he's going to have the color of the chief. The chief face paint colors will be there. He'll look a little more cleaned up. He will look again aged up again. He'll have the headdress that the chief would be wearing, which is specific to just the chief wears that specific headdress. And I think in that one, I'm gonna have like I'm not sure yet if each one is gonna be face forward is gonna be the illustration, or if I'm gonna have the first one face forward, and then in the second book it'll be turned, and then in the third book it'll be turned again, and then in the fourth book it'll be profile. So you'll get the headdress, you'll get this side of the face paint, and you'll still be able to see his face age. So I haven't. That's the part that I need to work on, is if I'm going to have them all head on the way the covers are going to be, or if I'm going to have his face doing like a slight quarter turn until the fourth book you're seeing just the profile of his face with all the stuff. But all of that will be known, because I'm thinking about having a legend in the beginning of of all 4 of the books, where I'm going to say like the face paint colors and what they symbolize. I will mention that the children are known as son of so and so, but for the for like almost like in a play that'll say like this is their name, but for the sake of the story, I'm not going to say Son of River every time I'm mentioning him. I'm just going to say River, and you just need to be aware that when I say that I mean Son of River. But I'm going to do a bit of a glossary type of thing in the beginning of the book to kind of give the reader an understanding on certain things that I may not go into very much detail, because that would be exposition, and I don't want to do that in the story. I kind of just want you to delve right into it, into the meat and potatoes, and if I have to stop to explain the colors for each of the tribes and all that stuff, then I'm going to be teaching rather than showing. I'm going to be telling rather than showing, and I don't want to do that. But anyway, so the warriors are going to be purple. Actually, purple? No, sorry. I think it's black. And then the hunters uses a purple. I had this information written down somewhere. I wonder if I still have it written down somewhere. Where I made a note for myself what all the colors would be somewhere. Yeah, you said I see I put in here include a glossary, but I thought I made a list. Where would I have put a list? Yeah, no, it's not there. Oh, see, even at one point I was calling them the arc tribe. Oh, I had so many different ideas for the name of this tribe, and then they were high upon the Mirror Mountains. I am gonna have to do a map because I need to make sure that I stick with what I stick with, and that I don't go crazy. I'm gonna have to. Dang, I really thought. Maybe I put it in my notepad. You think I did that? Let's see. It's possible. Here we go. I knew I wrote it down somewhere. Yes. Okay, so the youth is... Let's go back to where I was. I wrote it in my notepad in 2019, and I think I'm just going to keep it as it is. So the youth is yellow, so let's get rid of white. The elders are black. I might want to change some of these around. Hunter is a mix of green and black. Gatherer is a mix of blue and black. And let's see, warrior. Ooh, that's an interesting mix. Orange and black. And then the leader is... I didn't do laborer. How did I miss that one? Hold on. The chief is purple. And then the shaman I put is white. Okay. I don't like that the warrior is orange and black because they have to like be hiding and like stealthy, and I feel like orange... Can I do red and black there? And then for the laborers, I will put orange and black. Capiche? Capiche. Alright, so here are the... And I don't know if I like the elders being just black. I don't have purple anymore. I just realized... Oh wait, I do. The chief is purple. Part of me wants to take these and move them up. I feel like having them down there is just... Okay. Okay. 'cause he still can do it. Just keep building up impossible hopes. It's possible. Things are happening every day. I had the order of the books different back then, and one of the book names was different. Alright, I just did a thing so that way it jumps up to the top for me, so I will look at this at a later date and time and see if I want to stick with what I had or what I have. Right. So the one thing that technically all of this doesn't apply to both tribes. Some of these things do, and then some of them don't. So I feel like I need to, like, is the other tribe gonna have elders? Is the other tribe gonna have a shaman? They are gonna have warriors, hunters, gatherers, laborers, but they're not gonna be divided by gender. They're gonna be, warriors that are both men and women, gatherers that are both men and women. It's gonna be, I think, more based on age than on gender in the other tribe. Once you reach, during a certain age in your life where you're more agile and more able to be a warrior, you're a warrior. When you get older, then you transition from being a warrior and a hunter out in the world to, being a gatherer and whatever. I don't know. But I think because of that, I need to take some of these things that I put in the facts, which don't apply to both, and move them into the sheet that they would more apply to. So let's make a Varus. I think I'll do it like this. Varus facts, and then type or facts, and then tribe facts. Okay, so there's facts there are facts that are specific to each. So I will take this, their appearance, I think, and then their face painting, sitch, and I will take these. Their weapons will be the same. They both use the same types of weaponry. I'll take this and delete it like that. Let's see if there's anything else here I want to move. I think the clothing I'll keep, the myths and legends I'll keep, and then the punishments are basically the same as well. So I will leave that. And then the main characters, I'm gonna need to have some Varus characters. And go from there, but I will leave all of that like that. And I think I'm going to end my stream here. I did drop a lot of frames, but I did not go, from what I can tell here, I really didn't go above like 20% in dropped frames. Like I'm right now staying steadily at like 12%. I started out at like 0.3, and then I never went above 15% with drop frames. That's still not acceptable. So I think I'm going to, like I said, I'm going to try to use just plain OBS tomorrow. I'm going to create or recreate these sources and things under OBS and see if that has any improvement. Because I'm hardwired, so I feel like that should be enough for me to never have a dropped frame again. But clearly I am wrong, because it's not making one bit of difference. So I will need to figure something out. Because when I look at Twitch, it still says to me that my stream is excellent, even though I am, like I said, dropping like flies. So I don't know. I don't know. But in the meantime, I did stream for 2.5 hours. Really, I did stream for 3 hours, but half an hour offline and not really doing much work. So 2.5 hours it is. I will be back tomorrow morning to do hopefully 3 hours, and my goal is to start an actual outline. I did a lot of the meat and potatoes, as I like to say. I did a lot of the bones, the structuring with figuring things out, naming names, characters, hierarchies, all that fancy stuff that will help me when I start laying the foundation of the story, doing the outline for book 1, etc. And hopefully by the end of this week I will be working on like chapter 1, because next Friday I want to be able to give some chapters to my patrons. How many chapters I don't know. I don't want to make any rash decisions or be like, yes, I'm going to deliver X amount of chapters. Not going to do that. I'm just going to say that I want to deliver whatever chapters I have written by next week Friday to my patrons, totally unedited, but I want to give them something. So that's my goal, is to deliver, even if it's just one, deliver something that I started writing. So that's my goal, that's my mission. My other one is I'm giving myself, I think my wife said 3 months. So by the end of June to have written the first book. That's my goal, is 3 months. It's a long time. I don't usually take that long, but the last time I was like crunching these novels out, I had multiple breaks. I'm not going to rush myself. I'm going to take my time and take the full 3 months to just kind of like, and that's just 3 months just to finish writing the thing. It doesn't include editing or publishing. I may never publish the damn novel. Who knows? But I am going to give myself 3 months to completely write the first book in the Son of River series, which at this moment in time is called River Run. So with that said, I want to bid all of you adieu. Thank you, Swiftness, again for the host. And like I said, I will be back tomorrow, where hopefully my stream will not be as lagging as I know that it has been thus far. Peace.